moved. And because they have tried to trade him throughout the offseason, I think that he's got a right to be concerned that, he doesn't have a relationship with Paul Fenton. And Paul Fenton doesn't have a relationship with him, so he wants to make sure that he's protected. In terms of the first part of that question, as I wrote in The Athletic yesterday, I really do believe that if this thing goes to ARB, that then there'd be no incentive on a one-year deal for him to re-sign in January 1. You might as well at that point go to free agency and see what's out there, and I think we could all assume that Vegas would be interested in him. Now, maybe we're overplaying that, but I think that he'd be willing to play there and can make a lot of money there.
Yeah.
So.
Vicky, did you have any questions today?
Vicky's talked out from Italy.
Fire away.
Well, this is a podcast. You need a mic.
Not really. Just yell. Oh, sorry about that. Vicky's going to wander over there. I also want to hear, before the end of the show, you got to tell me more stories about, embarrassing stories about Italy. You got to tell me something embarrassing about Lepanto. Or even, you know what, my wife wants to go to Italy. Tell me where we should go exactly.
Okay.
Okay. He said okay without looking at Mike.
You can talk about Clyde going down the hill twice.
Oh, my goodness. We're at a winery.
Clyde is just...
Clyde, Vicky's
he's
husband.
He's beside himself now.
At the same place where Vicky one-upped him by leaving her phone there. Clyde twice, as we were doing this wine tasting on these beautiful trees, went ass over tea kettle, just somersault backwards off this chair.
Show off.
A little too much wine for Clyde that trip.
So...
It was a good trip. So
now I really want to go.
Well, I'm not going to talk about Dumba anymore.
Yeah, thank God.
Because I kind of started a firestorm on Twitter the other morning.
Oh, yeah?
But that's what I get for tweeting it. What was it, 4:30 in the morning?
It was 3:20 Mountain Time, and I tweeted, and then all of a sudden I see you responding, and I just oh, no, I think I just woke up the entire family. Because the one thing I did learn when we were in Italy is that Vicky gets notifications every time I tweet, which I can't even imagine.
How do you live?
Yeah, I know, that's insane.
No, I do talk to him come on, Michael, give me a break.
Yeah, I woke up the whole family.
Yeah,
but you know what? I woke up a couple front office members of the Wild that morning too, which I loved
sweet.
it. Yep. So.
Yeah, but I did appreciate the article that you wrote explaining.
Yeah. Because I was stunned too at the price, but then you start really looking at it, and maybe I should have done it before, but I just never thought it would get up to that high. But the reality is that right shot defensemen right now are such a premium that it really makes sense. So now the hope is that this guy becomes an absolute stud.
Yeah, I was just shocked.
Yeah.
$6 million seemed like a lot.
Yeah.
But my question now is, we signed Zucker. Are you going to live? You okay?
Does anybody know the Heimlich? Holy jeez.
I think I'll live.
Have a beer.
I will, believe me.
I know we have $8 million cap left. Zucker will take part of that.
Yep.
Is $2 million, we'll consider it's going to be around $6 million. Is $2 million enough to bring people up and down during the year?
Yeah, I mean, well, Greenway will probably make the team, but I mean, it depends if they're how healthy they are at a camp. If they have little groin injuries and stuff, they're going to be in the same cap issue situations that they had last year. Is where all of a sudden they're going to be putting themselves in a position where a couple injuries early in the season and prorated, those are full salaries. You're going to get in trouble a bit, but. Every team's like this. I mean, you look at the cap situation. The Wild have, are right up there with the rest of them in terms of tightness. So you're right. I mean, the hope is that you can get Zucker under 6, 5.75 maybe, and that would give them about 2.5, 2.6 left. And Greenway takes about 900 of that. That would give them 1.6. That should be enough at least, as long as they're healthy early in the year.
Well, I was just wondering
what you needed. I don't know if you remember when the Wild lost Foligno, Coyle, and Niederreiter. They needed one of those three to be a major injury. I mean, it was like they would have been. Remember, they were short, and it's like there was. I mean, I hate to say it like this, but it was almost like a breath of fresh air that Coyle needed surgery and they could use LTI, because if they did it, they were going to be playing 10 forwards for the next 3 weeks. So it was crazy.
I was just wondering in the back of my mind if perhaps they weren't holding a Coyle trade or something like that in their back pocket in case they get in trouble.
No, I don't think anything's in the back pocket. I mean, I really don't.
Good to know.
Thanks, Vicky. I appreciate it.
I'm not saying that there won't be a trade at some point, but I don't think. More Reddit.
No, this is another personal question. I did a study abroad in Italy and drank a lot of wine.
Nice, yeah.
How
so
many bottles of wine did you alone
my
consume on your
God.
trip on
Well, look at
average
me.
per day?
Look at me.
I
he
mean,
says.
I'm still
Five?
smalling.
Clyde's saying 5.
How many? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, let's put it this way. I got like 2 boxes of wine still like in commute. I got a thing from Casanova
So you ordered
today.
2 cases to bring back.
No, Lapanta and I have split
That
on
sounds really
Antinori and well, then trust me, it was not a healthy trip. I mean, bread and pasta and cheese and pizza. I didn't eat any pizza, but and so much wine.
You went to Italy
Yeah.
and didn't eat pizza?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Come on.
You live a
but-
sad life if you didn't eat
Oh,
pizza
trust
in Italy.
me, I didn't. I mean, it was like they had like first courses there is pasta.
Yeah,
I mean, that's insane.
the first course is pasta, and then
But-
you eat your lasagna and pizza,
Yeah.
and then you get tiramisu and wine for dessert.
Yeah,
so.
and I had desserts, which I normally don't eat. But every single night, what was really cool about the group that we had is that for 8 straight days, it would be 15, 16, 17 of us after dinner just hanging out and drinking and sharing stories and laughs. And with this one hotel, this villa that we stayed at in Tuscany was absolutely unbelievable. It used to be a village. It was a village in the 1800s, then went vacant. Then somebody came in the 1970s, bought it, and tried to turn it into a winery, and the vineyards essentially didn't take. And so what they did is they took the old buildings of this village back in the 1800s and turned it into a hotel. And so incredible restaurant, bar area, patio area. We all had our own essentially apartments there. And patios there. And so, I mean, it was our first day, we're stopping at like rest stops and you could buy wine at the rest stops. The rest stops have Tuscan wine. Yeah, I mean, their rest stops are like restaurants and we're buying wine there just to hang out that night. And it was every single night, tons of wine. Man, it was bad. Oh, and remember one of the last nights I came out there with just the biggest giant Magnum bottle of wine that you could possibly get. I
drunk?
Drank a bit. Yeah. Let's put it this way. When I checked out of the hotel, I was a little shocked at the bill. So I'm like, what? We were only here 4 days, and I wasn't paying for my room. Like, it had to be like all booze, man. Yeah, okay. It was expensive, but it was fun. And Como is absolutely spectacular. Same thing. I knew we were going to have a great trip. That first night we're in Como. And about 25 of us went out to an outdoor patio and took it over. And then the next night, the same thing. And just sharing stories and laughs. And there was one night in Como, poor Vicky missed it, where Lapanta was even sharing the stories that shouldn't be broadcast. So the people that came that were Wild fans had, I think, a really good time to just kind of get the inside stuff on the Wild. And the inside stuff on our industry and Lapanta working his way up from cable access channels and me covering the Florida Panthers.
Are there plans for a similar trip in the future?
Yes, next summer we're doing a trip, same thing, defined destinations. We're going to try to do southern Italy, which is like Amalfi Coast,
Yes.
Naples, Sicily.
Yes.
Because I'm Sicilian. But if it doesn't work, we're
Southern
talking
Italy is
about,
wonderful.
Yeah, if it's too expensive, because it's hard to, this trip, the person that puts it on, I mean, it's expensive. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of expenses that he's paying out through it. So it's an expensive trip for the people going. And southern Italy, I mean, it's a more expensive flight than going to northern Italy right now. So there's a chance we do like Eastern Europe, which I think could be an awesome plan B. Like Germany, Prague, Switzerland, Austria. Let's do it. So it'd be awesome.
Thanks for the questions. We appreciate it. A couple more minutes left in the show. Thanks to everybody who came out and everybody who listens, of course. Want to remind everybody, order Delano's Pizza. Come to Delano's Pizza any time of the day, and it's a great pregame place if you're going to go to Target Center or Target Field. Thanks to Twill and the Edina Galleria, as always. Thanks to our newest sponsor, WizKids.tech, a Minneapolis company run by Michael Fannert. We'll be telling you more about them as we go along. They sponsor a number of programs on the network, whizkids.tech for your business. Thanks to fixologyrepair.com, John Hedges' place, and Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent in Champlin. We have another Twitter question. Who's currently at the top of the Wild's trade list if they were still to trade for someone? That's from Axel Goals.
Right now, I mean, when it gets to this point, if he's talking about other teams, if it gets to this point, most teams want to see what they have going into camp. So if he's asking, who from another team is on top of their trade list, I mean, that'd be total conjecture. And then same thing with the terms of them. I think it'd be the same thing until they know that Suter's fine. Chad Graff from The Athletic hung out with Suter a couple weeks ago in Madison, and everything is on pace where hopefully he gets on the ice here in the next little bit to start skating. Until Suter's fine, they're not going to move Brodin. They're obviously not moving Dumba right now. And Coyle's worth at this point is low, so they're going to need him to play himself up, and we'll see what happens with Zucker here in the next little bit.
Yes, sir.
General NHL question is, when does Carlson get moved from Ottawa?
I thought it was going to happen pretty much this summer, and I think it still very much can happen. But he will be moved at some point. Maybe they're waiting for the trade deadline. But he's the one guy that's I'd be shocked at this point if he re-signs there. So,
all righty,
year left on his deal.
Yes, Ken.
Recovery going? Do you know?
Good. Yeah, I talked to him at the draft, and he's doing well. And his goal is to be ready by training camp. But I still think that it's going to be very, they got one spot if healthy and up front, and so I think that goes to Greenway right now, especially because he could play because of the way that he ended the season and how much Bruce really respects him. And I just think that it'd be good for Cunningham to go down there and play himself back in. So
here's a good question from Larry Platts on Twitter. Russo tends to trend negative on your podcast, but I download them and subscribe anyway. That being said, can he make a case why we should be optimistic about this season for once?
What? I'm not negative.
Anthony LePanta thinks you are.
Yeah. Anthony's a...
You haven't had anything to drink yet. We need to get a beer in you and get some truth serum flowing here. You're not going to answer that question?
No.
You're not going to answer that question at all?
No. I don't like the negativity to begin with from him.
All right, let's see if you'll answer this question.
Thanks for listening.
Well, let's ask this question from Larry. Why does almost every new deal include a no-trade clause?
Well, on the Wild or in the league?
Doesn't specify.
I mean, because, these guys, this really all started years ago when, people forget that when I first started covering the league, free agency was 10 years in the NHL and age 31. And then with the lockout in 04-05, it became 7 years or 25 or 27 or 7 years. So guys are even becoming free agents like Gaborik at like 25, 26, or he could have been. So these guys want to protect themselves if they're going to give up that right. And that's just another hammer that agents have to make sure that these guys are protected to stay there. So,
two more quick Twitter questions. Aaron Williams, I don't know where he heard these things, but he wants to know how Backstrom's doing, if it's time to strip the C from Koivu, and is Kaprizov alive?
Yes.
Okay, and from Zeke Boyat on Twitter, have you heard anything about the Wild trying to sign Russian forward Sergei Andronov, if I'm getting that right, Andronov from CSKA?
I have heard that the Wild are in on him, but the problem with him and that stuff came out like 2 months ago. He's got another 2 years on his deal left and isn't even a free agent. So in other words, I'm not going to say that the Wild haven't talked to him or let his agent know, but the Wild would not be able to sign him now anyway, so it would have to be one of those deals that happens next summer.
Delano'sPizza.com.
If it's the kid that I'm thinking of, but I'm pretty positive that it's that Andronov kid, yes.
Okay. Delano'sPizza.com, TwillMN.com, WizKids.tech, FixologyRepair.com, and Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent in Champlin. We appreciate everybody who's made this the network and this show a success. We appreciate Delano's having us here. And let's embarrass Michael one more time. How about a round of applause for Michael for putting up with me today? This was like the sloppiest show we've ever done, and I can't even blame him for that. I think it was me.
How do you spell that Andronov kid? Because I know that
we got him working.
Yeah.
We got him. He's going to be sitting here and he's going to break a
because I just
story.
know that
while
I
we're
know
watching
that about 2 months ago I texted somebody about him.
Sergey, Andrn.
Yeah, that's the kid.
Okay. All right.
So again, if it's the same person, he's technically not somebody the Wild could sign now, but they could talk to him next time.
All right.
Or sign him next time.
All right, everybody order one more drink and